DORK Podcast with Rich Keefe. It's the DORK Podcast. Keefe Davey. It's the DORK Podcast. Hashtag. It's the hashtag DORK Podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Hashtag Dork. My name is Rich Keefe, joined as always by Davey Eyeballs. He is Ram Von Dam. All hail the king of ginger ale. It's Ryan. Davey, how are you?
Oh, I get it. I'm flying, Richard.
Humming
Along today. I got a cool story for you.
I love cool stories.
One of them you were there for, but our listeners were not, so I kind of have to bring them up to speed.
I get it.
So this past weekend on Saturday, we had a little fun outing.
Yes, we did.
We had a heck of a time.
Yep.
We went to what do they call it? Like upper deck golf. I want to call it like upper decker, but it's
upper deckered Fenway
Park,
yeah,
which was super fun. If you have not done yet, you don't have the means.
Cool.
So I was telling my dad about it, and he was like, "Oh, so did you guys get like a tea time through like the radio station?" And I was like,
"No,
that would have been a good idea."
I should have thought of that.
Yeah,
nope, we got it through a friend of ours who had to bag out. Actually,
yeah,
Shark's the one who put the whole thing together, and then he couldn't make it, but luckily we had a fourth ready to go.
Sure did. And so 2 nights before that, I told you a little bit about this. So I went and took photos of a band that I know you are a big fan of.
I mean, it might be one of my 5 favorite bands. These guys go real hard.
And so that band was Slipknot. I don't have any photos right now. I will show them on the Twitter when I'm done with them. But
all right, I'm looking forward to seeing these bad boys.
So
how was the show?
So as you know, it was the 25th. Yes, 25th anniversary of their debut album, in which they played it in their entirety. Now, let me tell you how cool this. So I saw Green Day do this. So Green Day did. It was the 20th anniversary of American Idiot, 30th anniversary of Dookie. They played both albums.
Ooh,
that was great.
Yeah.
I saw Rancid did And Out Come the Wolves, 30th anniversary of that. That was awesome.
Yep.
But I tell you this, Richard.
Yes.
So usually how this works is you get the first 3 songs of a concert and then they kick you out. Right. And so, but usually they let you mill around a little bit after, but your photo work is done after 3 songs. The 3rd song on the debut Slipknot album is Wait and Bleed.
I believe it might be track 4 because there's
an intro, but that doesn't count. So that doesn't count. So
just for the Slipknot fans out there, they might be it's just for the record. I think
there's intro, and then there's Sick, and then there's Eyeless, and then there's Wait and Bleed.
Thank you very much.
Yes. So we got to see that. The intro didn't count for us because the intro into Sick was like one thing, right?
Correct.
So and we made sure to tell the tour people that we're not leaving until the end of this song, right? So there were I was telling you, usually there's 8 at the most, 8 or 10 people is pushing it. There were 13 photographers in the pit, which means I was 10 feet from each member of Slipknot.
Jesus. Now, as a massive fan, but also a now old person.
Yeah.
Were they real loud?
So they have their monitors set right in front of the stage. And at one point I had my elbow on one of the monitors and I was taking photos. Could smell these guys. I was that close to them.
Yeah.
And I could feel the bass from the monitor in my chest. It was thumping my chest. And the cool thing is too, is they wanted their tour person was amazing. She was telling us that they want everything to feel like 1999 again. So if you've seen Slipknot later, and it was funny, the last time I saw them was in 1999 at Ozfest.
No shit. Okay.
So it had been that long. So I remember seeing pictures of them, they have their own little spaces on stage. They're all kind of spread out. She's like, so we want this to feel like 99. So they're all right in front.
Oh, no shit.
So it was 6 people right in front of you. Jim Root was right in my face. And Corey, it was right in my face. So there was this cool moment. And I told you this, and I think you were annoyed with me that
I get it. Yeah, but go ahead.
During Wait and Bleed, I was I don't know. I forgot where I was for a second, and I put my camera down, and I just started kind of banging my head and singing along with the song. And I didn't realize that I was at one point, I was just full on car level, jamming.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I was screaming the song back, and I look up and Corey Taylor looks at me, points at me,
Oh yeah.
And starts like nodding his head like, yes, like
This guy gets it.
this guy gets it.
Yeah.
Like, I think he appreciated the fact that like I stopped taking pictures to just like kind of soak it all in.
Yeah, yeah.
Because all the cameras were up. So like I was like had my and he like looked at me and pointed at me. And in my mind, I was like, fuck. Like I had to like get my camera up quick.
Yeah.
Missed it. And I think he did on purpose.
Yeah, he did. He fucked you. Now you're thinking about it. But that's an experience though. You're not gonna forget that anytime soon.
All got so 13 of us get out. And the most seasoned guys, this guy, Evil Rob, who you're in his name, he calls himself Evil Rob. That's how he introduces himself.
Yes.
Follow him on Instagram at Evil Rob. Like he's a legend and he was like, that was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like Evil Rob, you would like this too. Evil Rob was there for Slipknot. He was Marilyn Manson's people called him directly to go shoot his show in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Jesus Christ.
And he was like, yeah, Manson loves to like,
I thought Manson got.
Yeah, he was like, he loves throwing shit at me. And he said, last time I shot Slipknot, like Clown, like flipped a keg at me, like threw a keg at me. It was pretty brutal, pretty awesome. I was like, why would he fucking throw a keg at you? He's like, no, just to fuck with me.
I'm real hurt though. Like I'm actually real hurt.
He's like, you missed me. But like, so, I mean, that was a fucking experience. And I wish you could have been there with me, but I'll show you some pictures and you'll see how fucking close I actually was.
Oh my God. It's like unsafe.
It was kind of unsafe.
That's fucking cool though, man. And like of all the people, especially like the celebrity artists that you've taken photos of, there's nothing like Slipknot.
There was no, because like I said, all 13 of us were like, holy shit. Like that was crazy.
That is a wild time. Awesome. Yeah. Did they have anybody open for them or anything? Or was
they had two bands open there, a band called Knocked Loose.
Okay.
Who were fucking crazy. And there was a band called it was like Orbit Theory. I think it's like Orbit Theory or something like that from Sweden. They were like those metal bands from Sweden.
Yeah. Okay.
They were awesome. Was it Orbit Theory? Is that the name of the band?
There's some theory I've heard of. Not Chaos Theory, Hybrid Theory. What is the fuck is it? I know one of them. I think. But anyway,
what was the name of the band? So, it wasn't.
Kicks ass.
Keep talking. I'll come up with the name of the band.
All right, so how about this? This is going to be a little bit more for the visual people watching on YouTube or watching later on youtube.com/dork podcast. But the other day, go ahead.
Orbit Culture.
Oh, that name I don't know. But, I was playing with Magnetiles. Now, I was playing. My daughters were there, so I wasn't playing by myself, but I could because they're that fun.
Yes.
With Magnetiles. It's the colors, it's the magneticism. And look at what I stumbled into. I think I made the Tesseract.
Oh, Jesus. Look at you did.
That's the Tesseract I just made.
You should put like a little like light bulb in it and have it glow.
I could. This probably in Disney would have cost me like $70 to get the Tesseract. Yep. But here we go. I just put it together. I'm like, look at this.
Look at that.
I feel very good about that. But anyway, yeah. Upper Deck Golf was a blast. Smashing little pitching wedges and sand wedges all across Fenway Park. And it's a cool setup. So there's 9 holes, if you will, like on the outfield, but then there's 9 separate tee boxes. So you basically take like a journey all around the park. Like you start
all around the top of the park, and
you start like right field, and then you go all the way around, and you end in right field. It's cool.
And there was one hole that we were all kind of scared of because it was like the hole. It was a 60-yard hole straight down, so you had to like look over the edge to see where your ball went.
It was foul territory left field, right? So like if you just kind of spit, you would have hit, Tyler O'Neill or whoever was playing left field. But like it felt like if you did like a full follow through, I was gonna fall down. You weren't. There was netting, and there was actually even another row of seats, but you couldn't see the row of seats from where you were hitting.
Yes,
that was nuts.
But looking straight down from the top of Fenway Park is pretty harrowing.
Yeah, I'm apparently not a big heights guy. I don't love heights.
No, get a little dizzy there.
Which could be my downfall if I ever got called to be in MTV's The Challenge, because all of their things are over heights.
So we talk a lot about like Fear Factor. When we used to watch Fear Factor, and I could eat at that time in my life, like I would eat anything. Like the eating bugs,
anything.
Like eating bugs, like never really bothered me.
Bugs, fuck.
Like getting covered with bugs, like that wouldn't bother me. The only thing that I have a wild fear of is not heights. It's actually, believe it or not, water.
You're scared of water?
Scared of drowning. Yeah.
That's a thing, right? There's a phobia for that. There's a name for that. You're afraid of drowning here and drowning, but you can swim.
I can swim. Like me swimming is fine, like in a pool, right? But like I was in Delaware, and like there were some big waves, and it was like the undertow
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like pretty strong. Like I was scared to death. Like I couldn't watch my kids playing near the ocean when my kids were little and like my nephew was little. Like I
Wow.
couldn't watch them at the pool. Like it
Huh.
was like it's like panic inducing.
Wow.
Like I can't. People don't know that about me. I actually have a fear of water.
I'm the opposite. I love the water. I feel like I could live in the water. I'm an excellent swimmer, above average swimmer.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it very much. Whereas heights bother me. I couldn't do any of the fear factor snakes. If they were like, hey, remember like every once in like once a season, it was like lay down and we're gonna drop snakes on you. I'm like, I'm leaving.
Oh, you would not even have gotten. You would have just left.
I
As soon
would've
as they're
been-
like, you're gonna bury you in snakes, you'd be like, later.
It was fun. I'm glad I came in 8th place. I'll see you
Would
guys.
you say you have a Bam Margera level fear of snakes?
100%. The way he reacted would have been the way I reacted. He might have been even tougher about it than I would have been.
He cried. I think if I had done that to you, where you fell through a false floor into a pit of snakes, one, this podcast wouldn't exist.
No.
2, you would have physically harmed me.
Yes, I would have. You know what I would have done? Knowing what I know now, I would have thrown you in the deep end of the pool.
Yeah, and like covered it.
And
like
then pulled your feet down.
I don't know. Like when I was a little kid, like I had like this reoccurring thought that I was gonna fall, like like covered pools.
Yeah.
Like I was gonna fall on the cover and get like I couldn't get out. Like that was my like.
Yeah, dude, that's scary. Like whatever your fear is, just take what yours is and then just be like, all right, that's what yours is. Then you can sort of understand what that person is feeling because. And I was always so thankful because a couple of guys that I played football with, one of them in my dorm sophomore year had a pet snake, which I thought was outrageous. But he had a snake in the dorm. And I've probably told this on the podcast, but kids would go around like when it was time to feed them and they'd fucking watch him eat or whatever. I'm like,
in like fucking road trip.
100% like road trip. I don't think he ate him right away. Like, what the fuck, Mitch? You gonna fucking eat him or what? Tap him on the glass.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was always terrified because these guys were a couple of silly gooses. I thought they were gonna like fuck with. They never. Thank God, it never ended up in my room, in my bed, around me, in my clothes. I would have died. I would have been a changed person. But anyway, that's where I'm at right now.
Yes.
Josh in the chat is afraid of medium heights. He says, high enough to die, I'm fine. Heights where I'm gonna be really fucking hurt. I'm shaking like a leaf. That's like a more rational. That's a real rational fear that you have.
Because there are worse things than death. Like I know if I fall off the Empire State Building, and I'm probably going to be dead before I hit the ground. To be honest, because
you might not even feel it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's also true. You might die in the sky. You're right.
I might die before I hit the ground. But like those, you fall off the roof of a house. Like there's things worse than death.
Oh God, yeah, and like
you know what I mean.
Couple of compound fractures, and then you're just laying there trying to get help.
Your head, like you're not yourself when you come out of it, and like you're a burden on your family. I don't want to get into the whole thing, but I get what you're saying. Like you're a burden on your family at that point.
You're taking an absolute turn here on the hashtag
I get it. We're talking fears. People want to get to know us on these podcasts. I think this is how you do it. You talk about your fears.
So if your biggest, it is true. People can relate to it. They can poke fun, or they can relate, or whatever it might be. So yours is water, or at least the fear of drowning. Mine is snakes. I'm honestly not sure I have a close second. It might be heights. Although if you had to choose between standing with no railings on like a really high place when it's windy, or being like not fully buried alive, because that's fucked. Like nobody, that's not. That's
Jesus Christ! Like
that's
like
in like a box that like you don't have. You're gonna get out. I'm telling you, you're gonna get out, but I'm not gonna tell you when. What is worse, the heights or the box?
I think the height thing, because like if you're telling me that like I'm not gonna die in there,
you won't die.
But it's like claustrophobic. Like
yes,
I'll go to sleep. I'll take a nap.
You'll take a little sneaky snooze.
But if I'm like getting blown, like I'm off balance the whole time, like that's brutal.
That's not good. Because there is that, like, I have like that sort of sick feeling, like when you look down, like that a lot of people
you get like your knees kind of buckle a little bit. Yeah
boy, not for me. Also, now that we're just kicking it around a little bit, it was a very busy weekend because of the golf and the Slipknot and everything else. How about this? So it's going to be officially year 20, I believe, of the Gentlemen's Club Fantasy Football League, which is you and me. It is my dad. It is a bunch of our high school friends and a bunch of my college friends and one of my cousins. That is the 12-man league. We've been together strong. A couple guys dropped off, but for the most part, I think 10 of the 12 people have probably been in it the whole time.
One guy was asked to leave, who we will mention in a moment.
Yeah, we had to kick him out. His name is Ike, and
we had to remember that. Yep.
Remember that name coming up. We had to remove him from the league. But anyway, it's awesome. It's a blast. Love the league. And so we had always done, I have like mini helmets of all the NFL teams and a bunch of the college teams. And for years and years to determine the draft lottery, because it's a non-keeper league. We start fresh every single year. It's fresh blood. Everybody has a great time. And we would always, everybody would pick a helmet and we'd pull it out and boom, there's your order, 12 through 1. Fun, good time. Last year, I pulled up the N64 WrestleMania 2000 and we randomized the order for the Royal Rumble. And then we each got an entrant and then we did it that way. Also fun. This year, we went next level. We had 2-time Intercontinental Champion Tito Santana give us the order. He broke it down. WWE Hall of Famer Tito Santana gave us the order. That's nothing to sneeze at, right?
Nothing to sneeze at, and I'm thankful we did it because I pulled the second pick in the draft.
Yeah, you
and
did.
If you recall, and I said it in the group chat, the last time I got the second pick in the draft, I actually won.
That's crazy that you remember that. That is pretty wild.
It was a big year. And I remember the last game of the season. It was me and Shark had Marshawn Lynch, who was at the time playing for the Raiders.
Okay.
And I was up like 4 points, and Marshawn Lynch maybe got 3 snaps in that game. That's it. That's how I won.
All right, I'm gonna try something. I don't know if it's gonna work or not. Yeah, let's fucking try this. Let's give the people what they want. They're like, I want to see Tito Santana giving the people the order. So let me see if this will work. Let me see if I can share the screen on this. I highly recommend it. I feel like this was a big coup for us. And I think, all right, here we go. Let's see if this works.
Hey, what's up, dudes? It's time for the.
Oh, this is me giving the preamble.
Great idea by Bales. Maybe we'll incorporate special Intercontinental.
This is WWE Hall of Famer Tito Santana giving a shout out.
W.
Hey, whatever he wants to be, he's in the goddamn Hall of Fame.
Right,
not you, not me. WWE Hall of Famer Tito Santana. That's right. Former tag champ.
Yep.
Pretty good.
To the Gentlemen's Club Fantasy Football League, asked of me by Commissioner Keefe. So here it goes. Good luck, everybody. Number 1, laces out. Number 2,
now I should have let me stop right here. I should have specified, but this is the issue with Cameo and also maybe just my poor wording, because you only get so many characters to put in your request and to give information. So I used up all the characters to tell them the team names, basically. But I was like, hey, can you randomize my draft order? And normally we go 12 through 1 to build the suspense. But Laces Out, owned by Shark, right off the rip. And then he texted me, he's like, do I have the first pick or the 12th pick? I'm like, you have the first pick. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But anyways, he's gonna rip right through this. This guy's a pro's pro.
Pollos Hermanos. Number 3, Big Bag O' Knuckles. Number 4, Lake Minnetonka Blouses. Number 5, New York Sec Exchange. Number 6, Treat Level Midnight.
Threat Level Midnight.
Threat Level Midnight.
That's fine.
It's fine.
3, Threat 3. It's all good.
Number 7, Len Sharks. Number 8, Berg Gang. Number 9, Little Buff Boys.
That's me. I'm Little Buff Boys. Now there is the thought. We didn't have a great season last year. There is a thought of maybe like a remodel, a rename, a rebrand.
Yeah, I'm rebranding this year too.
No way, dude. You've been Pollos Hermanos for the whole time. You're changing your squad.
I've had it
Pollos Hermanos like the whole time.
I have been, yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, ever since Breaking Bad came out. So that was.
I don't know. I think I started maybe as the Tuscan Raiders.
Oh, actually, you're right. You definitely started as the Tuscan Raiders.
Yeah.
Then as soon as Breaking Bad got popular, you were Pollos Hermanos. But I do rebrands. I used to do like Batman themed type stuff. Then I was doing.
You were the
Gotham City Rogues.
Gotham City Rogues for a while.
And then I was just Red Hood and the Outlaws. But yeah, Little Buff Boys brought me a title a couple of years back. But then last year we kind of fizzled. So maybe I'll move on. But anyway, Tito hitting the Little Buff Boys there at the fucking 9th pick. Tito fucks me. I don't want the 9th pick. 9th pick sucks.
Number 10, Cardiff Giant. Number 11, Prestige Worldwide. And in number 12, SCLSU Mood Dogs. Good luck, everybody. Arriba.
Excellent.
Arriba.
Absolutely crushed it. Worth every penny. I urge you to check out Tito Santana. And he spun that around lickety split, too.
I'm sure he didn't have much else going on.
How dare you? You son of a bitch. He helped us.
Okay, trivia question. Do you know the Metropolis football team?
The Metropolis football team? No, I don't.
They're the Metropolis Meteors.
Oh.
There you go.
Oh, son of a bitch. Oh.
This week in Dork.
Well, Rod, this just into the news desk. Right before we started recording this podcast, we got word via Deadline that The Acolyte has been canceled after one season on Disney Plus.
No.
Yeah, canceled.
That sucks, but deserved. I would say deserved.
That sucks, but unfortunately, so did the show.
Yep.
I thought it was promising. I still maintain there was some good in there. I was somewhat curious, even though the show just whimpered out and was frustrating and left a lot of questions. Because it left a lot of questions, I was curious to see how they might address some of those going forward, because now what it does is it leaves this tremendous gap. And now maybe some other show will pick this up, but it leaves a tremendous gap from The Acolyte to Phantom Menace, and sort of, what Yoda knew, what he didn't know, what some of the other characters that we saw, like, I don't know. But anyway,
I would love to see. Now, they pitched this. Remember when they pitched this before, it was supposed to be a show kind of about the Sith and like how they kind of come into being.
Yeah.
And I read somewhere, so like I forget the name of it, like call it, whatever the dude's name was, who was the actual Sith, the actual acolyte, the actual Sith. His name escapes me right now. I forget it.
Oh,
with the sweet helmet.
Kimir?
Something like that.
Kimir?
But he was the first new Sith on screen since Count Dooku.
Oh.
So I would love to see more of him. I would love to see that story and like how that developed.
Yeah.
I could give a shit about High Republic Jedi. That's turned me off that altogether. I want to see some bad guy shit.
I like bad guy shit. I like Dathomir. I like Night Sisters. I like witches. People were like, people chat, they don't like the witches. I like the witches. I'm in on witches. Clone Wars had good witches. I'm in favor of that stuff. How about this little item? Borderlands. The film Borderlands is so bad.
How bad is it?
It's going to be released on digital at the end of the month.
Now,
in theaters this month, and it's going to be
not to timestamp this, but let me tell you right now, this movie came out like August 1st or something, right?
Or late, was it last weekend, or was it 2 weeks ago? Yeah, whatever.
I think it was 2 weeks ago. But here's the thing: as we record this, it is August 19th.
Yep.
So it is already going to be on digital. Like, take a shit.
That is brutal. Yeah. That is brutal.
That might be the fastest turnaround I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's up there.
It's like 3 weeks.
Track of that shit. That is fast. And it's not like COVID, right? It's not like, or it's like, it's not, one of those or going for awards. No, none of that. It might get some. It might get some Razzies.
It's costing them money to be in the theaters right now.
But plenty of time to see it before the dorkies, and so we can really give Madam Web a fair shot. Was Madam Web the worst movie of the year, or was it Borderlands? We'll find out.
Good question.
It doesn't sound like it's going to be Alien Romulus. That's got good reviews early. 82% critic score, 86% audience. Had a couple of people DM us actually over the weekend that saw it and said, very good. Third best Alien movie, which is probably the best you could hope for.
So behind Alien and Aliens?
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah. Better than like all the other ones. Better than Covenant, better than 3, 4, Prometheus, all those.
I didn't mind Covenant.
No, me neither. So if this is better than that. And I also saw a quote, Fede Alvarez, who directed this and directed Don't Breathe.
Mm-hmm.
He said he would love the idea to co-direct another Alien versus Predator movie with the director from Prey, who is his friend. So Prey was a Predator movie, and it was fantastic.
Who directed that? Was that? Hang on.
Trachtenberg, Dan
Trachtenberg, yeah.
Dan Trachtenberg. And so I guess Fede Alvarez is friends with him, and he's like, I couldn't direct the whole thing, but it's like maybe I could direct half of it, Dan could direct half of it, and bring in Prey and Alien Romulus. I'm like, God.
Dan Trachtenberg, if you're keeping, directed 10 Cloverfield Lane, No Escape, Badlands, which I never saw that.
Badlands. Which one was Badlands? I don't think
it's kind of like a Predator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm in on that. And how about this? Unbeknownst to me, I kind of stumbled into this. The show Evil, I've brought up a couple of times, is my pick of the podcast a while back. Luke Cage is in it, and I really enjoy this show. It's on Paramount Plus right now. It started as a CBS show, and so I started binging it because I saw these good reviews. I'm like, it's kind of like up my alley with all this weird stuff and like exorcisms. And the season 4 finale comes out this week. So I'm like almost caught up. Like I started watching it so long ago, and season 4 has been once a week for 14 weeks. So it's almost here. And then I read online, although I got to double check this. It says it's going to be picked up for a 5th and final season, but the final season is only going to be 4 episodes.
Maybe they're longer. Maybe they're
maybe they are, and maybe they're thinking like we could do like a movie, or let's just do. We don't have a whole season, but let's wrap everything up. So anyway, I'm almost midway through season 4. It's a fun little show. I enjoyed it.
All right, I'll check that out. It's I haven't. Maybe I'll binge it when it's done.
Yeah, you could do that. I think the first 2 seasons are on Netflix, which make it an easy rip, and then after that it's on Paramount. And so I got the commercials, but it's not terrible. It's like 30-second ads. It's not terrible.
It's time for Davey's video game minute, even if it takes more than a minute.
All right, Dave, what do you have?
Well, I got 2 quick things, or a couple quick things, and then I kind of want to get into the meat of this. But quick thing here. I just found out it's coming out next month. They're doing a remake of Lollipop Chainsaw. So they're remastering the game to update it. And if you don't remember, this game was kind of like one of those like a Dead Rising. So there's like zombies, but you play a high school cheerleader who was voiced by Tara Strong.
Like that.
And it was written by a very famous like anime writer and James Gunn.
Yes, I remember.
If you ever played this game, it is bonkers. You have the severed head of your ex-boyfriend as like your guide, wearing it on your hip, like kind of like a God of War kind of. So that's pretty neat. That's pretty neat.
I like that.
And then today, as we speak, in a half hour, not to timestamp it, but a half hour from now, Black Myth Wukong is going to be playable. It is now available. They did a whole global launch. So right now it is August 20th in Asia. So their release date is August 20th. Ours just happens to be August 19th.
Love it.
That's a fun. They're all releasing at the same time.
Oh, that's cool. All right.
So which is great. And then I keep bringing this up. I'm flabbergasted that Star Wars Outlaws is coming out in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's sneaking up on us.
Yeah,
that's good.
So we might have to do a hands-on there. Like first, what I would love to do with our YouTube page now to get us to 1 million is when Star Wars Outlaws comes out, just do my initial like first hour or 2 impression. Like, I'm gonna play this for 2 hours and just to tell you, and after that, I'll give you what I think. Like right off the bat.
That's a good idea. I remember you did that with this is going back a ways, but you did it with the Avengers game, I think. And people watch that. So yeah. Yeah. But to get into, we want to talk about this because people have been asking us. Yes.
How's the dynasty going? So we're done with our first season.
Yeah.
I'll let you go first and you can talk about your season because you had much more success than I did.
So I was Wyoming. Shout out Wyoming Cowboys. It's actually where my dad went to college, randomly enough. But anyway, so I chose Wyoming. Our only rule was non-top 25 team. I also wanted to go with like a Mountain West or like a strange conference. So I went with
good choice.
It was for a few reasons, as it turns out. So the schedule wasn't great. I didn't alter the schedule. So whatever the Wyoming schedule you see this year is the schedule I played. As Davey and I have pointed out, plenty of excuse making, but let's give some more. We haven't played a football game in years, certainly the college football game for 10 years. So
times have changed.
I'm old. I'm not good at the game anymore. So I lose my first game. I lose my first game to Arizona State. And we're not, by the way, we're not playing on Heisman. So we're not like, it's great. But anyway, so we ease into the game. I lose the first game, like by like 5 points. But then after that, I got like the FCS Midwest, and I scored like 70 points. And I'm like, all right, I think I got the game back. So I'm like 6-1, 7-1. I'm playing like a shit bum Utah State team, one of the worst teams in the Mountain West. Somehow lose. And I can't stop a nosebleed in this game. Like, I could score with the best of them. I cannot stop teams. I give up so many big plays, but then I win out. But what was bizarre to me is there was 3 teams in the Mountain West that had 1 conference loss. I didn't play either of the other 2 teams, and yet I got squeezed out and didn't make the Mountain West championship game. Long story short, it may be too late, but I finished 11-2. I won my bowl game. My quarterback won the Heisman. My 2 receivers were first and second in the country in yards, and my running back won best running back of the year because he had a ton of touchdowns. And I finished 14th in this rankings. So that was the University of Wyoming. Real quick, my buddy Ike was the University.
The aforementioned Ike.
Ike was the University of Buffalo. He's from the Buffalo area. He actually spent a semester at UB as a wrestler, and he played football at Hobart. He was Buffalo, and I want to say, went 10-3. He lost 3 games. He won his bowl game playing in the MAC, but he lost MAC games, so he didn't play in the MAC title game. He finished 10-3 and was pissed the whole time. Meanwhile, Ryan Davies.
Yes. My team, the Gophers of Minnesota, I was like, you know what? I'm going to pick a team that's like, play some cool teams, has a cool uniform.
Good mascot.
Good mascot. A great hockey program.
Sure.
But what I didn't consider is that I would be playing in the Big Ten, which meant that I was just going to get absolutely mollywopped by every single top 10 team I played, to the likes of, I got absolutely annihilated by both Penn State and Michigan.
Well, the best is there's like a screen for those that are playing, for those that don't, the Dynasty screen, there's one area you can go to where it just has like the users that are playing, whether or not they've played that week and who their next opponent is. So it's always hilarious because I'd go to that page, it would be like, I'm playing, New Mexico, Ike's playing Ball State, Davies playing number 3 Michigan. And you're like,
and I just got pumped, so in all those games. And it was such a comedy of errors because, like you said, like, this game's we're not playing on the hardest setting, but it's kind of hard.
I think defense is like impossible.
Defense is really hard. And again, like you and I said this to the Madden League. I was like, the most frustrating thing for me is I know I've coached football for like almost 20 years. Like I played for I know football. Like I know that if I motion someone and someone comes with me, like, oh, we're in a man defense. Like I understand these things, but like translate them into the game is so hard to do.
No.
And like I just don't. I'm not fast enough yet to like
make
adjustments.
I've had to like toss certain play. Like I can't run curl routes. Every time I throw a curl, the guy looks open, it gets picked off. Even if I'm throwing it hard. Yep. And we also chose teams that had like very few good players. I feel like as we go up, it'll be easier for us to move up a level in difficulty once we have guys that are fast. Like all my skill position guys are in like the 70s. Not speed, but like the overall rating is like in the 70s. They all kind of stink.
Yeah. So I finished 6-7.
Oh boy.
And then lost my bowl game to Georgia Tech. It was like some shit bowl, and I lost. I think at that point I had like just get this fucking season over. But the most depressing thing is my coaching prestige went from a B to a C+.
The best was
my job's still safe. I'm still fine, but like
my favorite thing was you had a good running back, like an overall a good number.
88. It was an 88. Overall.
And I go to the thing, and he was up there. Like I would look at the league leaders. He was up there.
He was good. Yeah, he was for a lot of the season. Yeah.
And then I go to the thing at the end, and he wants to transfer, but you kept him.
I kept him. I had to hard sell it. I like everybody else. I had to be like, you know what? And that's the cool thing about the game is like there is a transfer portal.
Yeah.
There are like deals that these kids make that you have to like adjust for.
Oh, dude, I got a 4-star from like Fresno. Like all of a sudden, because of the season that statistically offensively I got a bunch of receivers that like wanted to come play.
Yeah, guess who I got?
0.
Nobody. Like the only people who were interested to transfer to Michigan were like 2-star seniors.
Fuck them.
They were like
Don't want
like graduate transfer. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
You're an asshole.
And that's why I had National Signing Day. I think I got like 1 or 2. I got 2 3-stars and maybe 1 4-star kid who was in my pipeline, and I was his number 1 choice anyway.
Yeah, he was destined.
He was definitely going to
his Minnesota. Dad went to Minnesota. His dad's dad went to Minnesota.
Right. But like it's really hard. I'm struggling. So I hopefully, and we added another user. So my buddy Fridge, who went to UConn, is playing his UConn.
Yeah,
big
good.
Husky fan.
Good.
Is joining us for this dynasty season. So
we'll see
how that goes.
I'm excited to see how it turns out. I'm curious, like, do we schedule each other or do we just hope that we play? Because it is a 12-team playoff. So it's not just like it's all like, see if we play each other in a bowl game. Like maybe we get into the playoff and we play each other then. I don't know. At some point, we do have to play against each other.
At some point.
Yeah.
And I think we need to all make it into like the top 25 in a shot to like play in the playoffs or play for a bowl or something like against each other. Like that would be kind of fun.
Yeah, because I think the way it works is like if you win the Big Ten, you get an automatic bid. Whereas if I win the Mountain West, it's not automatic. But if I'm the best team of the non-power conferences, then I get a spot.
Which
so
is
it's like, it's a whole.
This stuff is it's bizarre.
I had to Bing what is the Mountain West Conference Championship game tiebreaker because I was like, am I getting fucked here? Like, why am I not in this game?
Oh yeah, I finished 11th in the Big Ten.
But to be fair, there's like 17 teams in the Big Ten. The Big Ten.
I wasn't last.
No. Anyway, it's crazy. All right, Ryan.
You all ready for biz?
We don't really. We're gonna wrap.
We don't.
No.
I mean, no.
It's the top 50 movies preview, and so we're gonna wrap up though with this. This is really more of just a grab ass type of thing. But we're doing, and it's TBD on how we're going to do it. We're going to break it up into 2 episodes for sure. They might not both be next week, but after long last, we're going to do our top 50 movies of all time, the official #Dork podcast list. So we have gotten the help of Mac and Goo, as well as our aforementioned Fenway golf buddies, Bessie, Woody, and Shark. Although a couple of those guys haven't sent theirs in yet. So if they don't, I'm not going to count them. So we'll see. But top 50 top 50 movies. Just quickly, what is sort of your process to putting this list together?
See, I don't know, and I'm starting to put it together now. This thing's taking shape. This has gone through several iterations now. Yeah. The issue I'm having, and I said this before, like the issue I always have is like, I think what I'm leaning towards now is going towards your thing of like my favorite movies. It's not the movies that I think are the best. I do not want to give Martin Scorsese his flowers ever. So I'm doing this versus him. Like I'm doing this against him. Yeah.
There's plenty of other people there. Yeah.
So I started making the list of like the best movies ever made. And obviously like the top, you got Schindler's List, The Godfather movies, Empire Strikes Back, Seven Samurai, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Like I have like all of these movies like rattling around in my head. And I'm like, you know what? I want this to be my list.
Yeah.
I want it to be my list. So now it's more of my favorite movies. Like the 50 best movies I've ever seen. Is how instead of being the 50 best movies.
Yeah,
I'm calling it the 50 best movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's what it should be. Because I think if we wanted like the AFI list, we just go to the AFI list. But if people want to say, like, what's the dork list? So I think even if you want to kind of blend the two, and obviously to me, it has to be movies that I've seen, but it also would be like, these are a couple movies that I like, but then compared to this movie, which I also really like, but it's just like has insane acting performances or has like a story that you've never seen or whatever. Because what I tried to do too was think of all the different genres and like, what are my favorite, like what are the best / favorite horror movies, action movies, comedies, sci-fi, a little bit of everything. Old ones, like I gotta have some movies that came out before I was alive that I like. So sort of like I don't want it to be all movies from the 90s or all movies from the last 5 years since we've been doing the podcast or whatever. So it's been fun kind of coming together, looking at some of the other guys' lists. Josh in the chat sent me his list and he's like, maybe you could tell me to fuck off. I will not tell you that.
Never.
I will say You guys can all email us if you want. I'm not going to add them to our list, but I'll look at them. dorkpodcast@gmail.com, what your top 50s are, or even just the idea of putting that together, because it's so fluid too. Like my number one today might be different 5 days from now, just depending on how I feel or which one I watched most recently. That's why I also wanted to have it more than just you and me, more than just you, me, Mac, and Goo, just to get a couple more people to sort of balance the scales. So if there's a movie that I forgot, for example, or maybe I just don't like it as much as you guys, at least it has a chance to still get on the list.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas if it's just the two of us, it's so weighted to that. But I'm excited to compile these and see what it comes up with. We did the TV show one. I thought the TV show one was fun and ended up being pretty solid. Maybe gave people some shows to go back and watch. I think the movie one will do the same. There'll be a lot of timeless classics, but there might be some others that maybe people have missed.
Yeah, and it's way harder than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And I think to answer your why haven't we done this before, like it's too fucking hard. It's hard to do this. Like this is going to take. I've made 4 of these already.
Yeah.
I actually went as far. I didn't do it. I was like, just tried it. I tried to see what if I typed into Chat GPT, like, I want you to make the list of the 50 best movies of all time, taking into account critical score, box office, and rentals. Like, take all of those into account.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
Generate the 50 best movies of all time. It was pretty predictable. And it seemed canned. I just wanted to see what AI had to say about it.
Yeah.
But it actually had like The Godfather was number 1 and like Shawshank was like number 3 and like stuff like that. But
yeah, I think it's good to at least go on the record and have our list that we can try to make a little fancy graphic or something just to have it. We can always kind of go back to it.
Yeah.
Even a couple years from now, I'd be like, oh yeah, we did that list before.
And we've made lists like this before. And I think the hardest part for me, other than drowning, my biggest fear is leaving a movie on the table, which I tend to do all the time. I leave something like, dude, you didn't even have like Green Mile on your list. I'm like, how the fuck did I forget that movie?
No, there's a lot that, well, this is insane. Like, and depending on what the lists look like too, maybe I'll like, if you get 50 points for the number 1 and then you get 1 point for number 5, if there's like a clear like 100, maybe we even just fucking pump the list to top 100. So anyway, that's what we'll do. We'll let you know when we're going to do that, because we also got to do The Crow. The Crow comes out next week. We probably need to review. We need to do it. Yeah, we do.
Which we can do. I would love to do a compare and contrast. We can do the old Crow movie as a rewatch.
Do Double Crows.
A Murder of Crows. We can title the episode
A Murder of Crows. I like it. 1994 and 2024 Crows.
Yep, 30 years apart.
At Dork Podcast, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also email us anytime, including your top 50 movies at dorkpodcast@gmail.com. If you're watching this live on YouTube, jump over to the other link as we're going to do the fall movie preview. We'll rip through that. But in the meantime, Ryan, promise me a million times over, you'll never do another rule.
Yeah, no, man, I'm not going to promise you that.